Welcome to Things I Can't Say, the podcast for the things parents whisper, not post. I'm Annie, a parent who's walked through the quiet, lonely hallways of raising a child with traits that don't fit neatly into any of the parenting books, or on anyone's social media feed either. Each week we'll open the door to stories that rarely get told out loud. I'll start with mine, and then you'll hear from other parents, mental health professionals, and people who know what it means to live in the gray instead of the black and white. This is a place where shame loses its power, where complexity isn't feared but explored, and where love doesn't have to be easy in order to be real. If you've ever felt like no one else could possibly understand, you're not alone here. This is Things I Can't Say, and I am so glad you're here. It's time for a topic I don't discuss much on other platforms, and that is my relationship with my children's birth mom. I tend to avoid it on other platforms because people have this weird parasocial relationship thing where when I talk about her, they go find her accounts and leave really rude comments. Like I can't handle communication with her when I need to. If we have a problem with each other, we can have adult conversations with each other. I don't need outside help with that. Our relationship has been complicated, but I think it's just as complicated as any other co-parenting relationship would be. If I were divorced from my children's other parent and we were trying to co-parent together, it would be complicated. It is a similar feeling, in my opinion, except I'm parenting alongside someone that I didn't know very well in the beginning. When you adopt through foster care, the first 6 months is technically still foster care. So the first 6 months before the adoption can be finalized, there are court times, there are attorneys involved and caseworkers involved. When I went in to sign paperwork before picking our son up for the first time, I saw an address for his grandma, I believe, that was directly across the street from us. I had no idea because we could be adopting a child who originated from anywhere in the state that he originated directly across the street from us. You also, with an open adoption, do a mediation agreement in which you mediate with the birth parent as to what ongoing contact will look like. They give their wishes, you give your wishes, and you find a way to meet in the middle. We did our mediation with maternal grandmother. The reasoning behind that is a little bit confusing to me. But for the sake of clarity for everyone, I feel like birth mom in some ways got very screwed over by the system. I think when she agreed to sign over her rights, there was a different belief on what was coming next. In her mind, biological family would be adopting him, and he would stay within the family and she would still see him. There was a whole plan in place that made perfect sense to her, in which the best of both worlds would happen. Maternal grandmother had intended to adopt him. The state said no to that. And so when we adopted him, we did mediation with grandma. We agreed to 1 visit a month, phone calls, text messages with us, and then family coming to any school performances, those special things. I believe that was what was in the writing of it all. The way that a mediation agreement is written is that the adoptive family can end it at any point they deem it to be unsafe or unhealthy. I met birth mom for the first time at a court hearing not long after he came into our home, in which I met her in the lobby and said, "Hey, I know you guys are right across the street. This is really uncomfortable to me. I can't have him know that you're across the street because I am afraid that this very impulsive ADHD kid is going to take off across traffic to get to you. So we can keep doing what we're doing, but he cannot know that that is where you are at," which everybody agreed to that. We did visitations with grandma. So he came to us in April. We did visitations with grandma every month. I don't recall how much he saw mom in that time frame. Little sister was born in that time frame, so she was a part of that family. I believe she came to some visits with grandma. In December, I believe was the first school, like, performance play that birth family came to. I was so nervous to have I just remember being so nervous because I didn't have a relationship with everybody, um, and having them there felt so uncomfortable to me because that was my child, and yet his other family was there, and he was so excited to have them there. It was so awkward, but we worked through it. After a while, visits with grandma became not what we saw as the healthiest. Um, we ended up limiting those, extremely limiting those, very supervised, just based on where the topics of conversation would go, and they just didn't seem appropriate to us. He was in kindergarten as we started. As he got into first and second grade, birth mom would come to his basketball games. We would have visits at McDonald's. There were phone calls with her. We did more with birth mom and less with grandma. She was sober. She was doing very well from what we could tell. It seemed like a safe, stable, good relationship. We were feeling very comfortable with birth mom. After a while, it started to get to be harder to get a hold of her. She was not showing up to things as much. Grandma was contacting me, making some statements that she was concerned. We started getting the idea that she was potentially using substances again, and we began to prepare ourselves for little sister coming to us. Little sister came to us rather suddenly. Birth mom was not happy about that. She was very angry with us in the beginning. Um, because little sister was in foster care, she had visitation with her at CPS that I wouldn't say went very well. Birth mom was not showing up for all of her visitations, which led to them being canceled. I spent in that next year, and I'm not saying this as like I'm the hero in this, I'm the savior in this. I spent a lot of time with birth mom in that next year. I would pick her up and take her places. I remember one time meeting her, we agreed to meet at a Taco Bell, and I didn't think she was going to show up. She showed up with a black eye and just looked awful. I mean, really, she looked awful. She would tell me how sober she was, but it was clear that she wasn't. It was just going on and on with things getting worse. There were missing person reports because we couldn't find her for extended periods of time. And I'm trying to deal with this separately without letting the kids know how bad it was. But I wanted her to be successful. I wanted her to have her daughter back. I wanted this to be successful for her, and it was not working that way. Um, Things were getting progressively worse, and I remember having a conversation with her just saying, like, "You need to make a decision because your daughter's been with us for over a year now. The kids are very bonded. She calls us mom and dad. She doesn't know where you are. Like, at some point, you're gonna have to make a decision." And she decided at some point in there to sign over her rights to her. I was with her that day. I sat with her. It was in my daughter's therapist's office that we went to sign over her rights and meet the caseworker to do that. Like, her and I have spent a lot of time together doing really difficult things. Um, a year or so later, I don't know the timeline, she found out she was pregnant again. She got sober. She's been sober since then. She's been sober for the last 7.5-ish years, if I'm adding it all up correctly. Since her sobriety in this last 7.5 years, um, our relationship has been good. We've gone to Disney World together to celebrate her sobriety. That was our 3-year plan. I don't remember telling her that if she was sober for 3 years, we would all go to Disney World together, but she says I did, so we did that. The kids have spent weekends with her and had a lot of visits with her. She took them out of the state to go to an amusement park and visit family. I have trusted her immensely. Has it all been easy? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It has not all been easy. Has there been mistakes? Yes. Have there been struggles with relationships that she's had in her life? 100%. There have been a lot of ups and downs in that. We have dealt with them. We've moved on. We've worked through them. Um, when it comes to our son, that is difficult because that is her oldest child. That's her baby. Um, there is so much guilt on her side for how things happened with him. And because he is who he uses that in his favor. So he is very quick to remind her how much guilt she should be feeling. He feeds into that completely. Um, I know how easy it has been for him to manipulate me. He has done that 100 times worse with her. I feel like I have spent a lot of years working on my boundaries, and my boundaries are very strong. Um, she's a lot younger than me and has been through a lot more than I have, and figuring out her boundaries has been a process, and he has crossed all of them. I don't blame her for that. I don't put that blame on her. There have been times that I've been angry, that I've been really frustrated with how he has manipulated her and the things that have happened. I don't hold fault for what has happened. He has visited her home and taken advantage of a lot of things. Um, one night he went there, I want to say it was for the weekend. He convinced her to let a friend come over. She had no reason to think there was any reason why that friend couldn't come over. They somehow got alcohol, not from her. They probably stole it from a store. After she was in bed, they stole her vehicle and drove intoxicated for quite a ways at a high rate of speed. That was all kind of seen as a joke later. There was a time that our son ran away. He was gone for a very long time. I could not figure out where he was and how he was financing this little excursion that he was on. He had convinced her to help him with it and had used a threat of, I will not be alive any longer if you do not help me with this. The pain she felt afterward, knowing that she had assisted in it, had hurt me, had not helped him. Uh, there was a lot of learning in that, unfortunately. Unfortunately for all of us, it was a really awful situation that led to a lot of learning. Um, that is an ongoing thing. The relationship she has with him is very different than the relationship that I have with him. He talks to her very regularly. I don't know what that looks like, and I choose not to push too much to ask what that looks like. I know that she does not want him to be hungry. She does not want him to be dirty. She does not want him to be without shoes. So she is willing to help him. I know our son, and I know he will take advantage of that if the opportunity is there. Um, all that I can do on my end is hope that she holds her boundaries with him, hope that she recognizes the manipulation when it's being used, hope that she recognizes that love is boundaries, love is being clear on what the boundaries are. Love is demanding sobriety when you know that sobriety is needed. Um, it's rough. She now has two other children in her home, is working very hard from what I can see on my end, to be an amazing mom to them. And I say that as her and I are two very, very different people. We are two very, very different people. We grew up differently. We have different everything. We see life very differently, and that's okay. It is okay that she parents differently and treats the kids differently and does things differently. That will not stop me from allowing the children to visit her, to spend time with her. Our boundary in place is safety. It has to be safe for the kids to be with her. That means sobriety is in place. That means the people in the home are safe. The kids know that that is what the boundary is. It's been set in stone for a long time. And I want the kids to learn what that boundary means, that it's safe to come and tell me how they feel while they are there. It is safe for them to make the decision on what feels right and what feels wrong. It is okay for them to define what that relationship looks like for them. It is not mine to define. It is mine to help guide because I'm their mom and I help guide all parts of their life. I help them think through all parts of their life. But it is not my job to define their relationship with their biological family. I don't want that to be my role. Is it easy? No, it is not. Are there times that I really, really struggle? Yes. Yes. I'm not a superhero. I have feelings, I have emotions. It can be very difficult to feel compared to someone else all the time. And also, that is their family. That is where they came from, and I will forever honor that for what it is. I'll honor that for what it is, even on the days that it's hard for me to do that. Um, if you have questions about things that I say, what I'm not saying, please feel free to email me, to ask me. I want to be clear and transparent on how I say things. I want to answer the questions to the best of my ability. There are things that I will not answer. If I feel like the stories are only my children's and I do not have permission to share them, I will not share them. Outside of that, I want to say what I feel I can say because I think there is benefit in talking about it. I don't think it's beneficial to live in isolation. Take care of yourself. Thanks for being here, listening, feeling, and sitting with the hard stuff. If you've ever whispered a story like mine, I'd love to hear from you. You can leave me a message at mombehindthescenes.com because every story told gives someone else permission to share theirs. This is Things I Can't Say, the podcast for things you whisper, not post. Until next time, take care of yourself.